Hey, welcome guys to this video where we are going to write a C program to find the prime number. In this video, we are going to know about what is prime number and what are the conditions we need to follow to write our prime numbers. So we are here in the code blocks to write a C program that is going to find the prime number. Before that, I would recommend subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon to get notified for future updates. So what is a prime number? A prime number is a whole number greater than 1 and whose only factors are 1 and itself. Numbers that have more than 2 factors are called composite numbers. The first few prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23 and 29. The number 1 is neither a prime number nor a composite number. So as of now, we know what is the prime number. So what are the conditions we need to follow to write our C program? So the first condition is the number needs to be a whole number. The number needs to be greater than 1. And the third condition is number must have 2 factors. That is, the number should be divided by 1 and itself. So before going into code blocks, let's see how this program is going to work. So our first step is going to enter a number which we want to check whether that number is prime or not. Suppose we entered something like 7. We know 7 is a prime number. That means our program must return something like 7 is a prime number. So let's take another example. Suppose we entered something like 8. Then as we know 8 is not a prime number, then our program should return something like 8 is not a prime number. Take the input, we will write something like printf, enter the number. That will indicate our users to enter the number that they want to check whether that number is prime or not. And then we will store that number into a variable by using a scanf function that will take the input and store into a variable. Let's the variable name is going to be number and we will declare that variable like int number. So let's take another example by taking a negative input. As we know, the prime numbers needs to be a whole number, thus our program should check whether that number is a positive number or a negative number. For example, if we are going to enter something like -2, then our program should indicate that -2 is a negative number. You need to enter another positive number. So we will use an if-else statement to apply some conditional flow to our program. That is, if the number is a negative number, please enter a positive number and we will take that input. Else, if the number is a positive number, then we will count the factors. So we will write the if statement like if the number is less than 0, print enter a positive number, and we will again take that input by using a scanf function and we will store that into our number variable. So that was our first part. Our next part is going to be the else statement, where we need to check the number of factors because a prime number can only be divided by 1 and itself. Thus, it is going to have only 2 factors. So here, as we have taken that input, we are going to divide that input by starting from 1 to the number itself. To understand in a better way, let's take an example. Suppose the number entered is 5. And let's create another box to store our factors value. So in the first step, we will divide 5 by 1. If it is going to be divided, then we will add a value to our factor box. If it is not going to be divided, we will move to divide the 5 by next number. If 5 is going to be divided by 2, then we will add another value to our factor box. Else, this process is going to be continued until the number is divided by itself. When the number is going to be divided by itself, it is going to add a value to our factor box, and that is going to be our last step. So the idea of dividing the number from 1 to that number is indicating us that we need a for loop, where number is going to be divided by 1 until I is equals to number. Whenever the remainder is going to be 0, then our factor box is going to be added with a value. So we could write something like for I is equals to 1, I is less than equals to number, and I plus plus. That is, let's initialize I is equals to 1. So we could write something like for Let's initialize I is equals to 1. So that is going to be 1 for the first time, and I less than equals to the number. That is, the loop is going to be continued until I is equals to the number. Then we will update our I by I++. In the loop, we will write something like if number %I double equal sign and 0. That is, remainder I is equals to 0. That is, if the remainder is 0. If you don't know, the %sign is known as the modulo operator in C programming language, where it is going to show the remainder of a division. Thus, if the remainder is going to be 0, our factor box is going to add it with a value. So as we know from our condition, if the number is having two factors, then the number is called prime number, else the number is not a prime number. That is, if our factor box is having value 2, then the number is going to be a prime number, else the number is not a prime number. Thus, let's get into the code blocks to see how this program is going to be written. In the main function, we will start asking our user for an input by a print statement like enter the number, and we will store that in a variable called number by a scanf statement, and we will initialize or declare that variable like int number. Now the next step is going to be our if-else statement, like if the number is less than 0, again print the indicating statement like enter the positive number and store that by using a scanf statement into the number variable, and else we will calculate our factors. For that, we will start a for loop where in the first iteration I is going to be 1 and will continue till I is less than equals to number, and we will update that I after each iteration by I++. If the number is going to divide it by I, then our program is going to add a value to our factor, and we will declare the factor variable like int factor, and we will assign that value 0 as the factor is not going to have any value initially. Our final statement is going to be a if-else statement where we will print if the number is a prime or not. Thus, as we have stored those values in our factor box, then we could write something like if factor is equals to 2, that is, if the factor is having two values, then print the number is a prime number, else print the number is not a prime number, and we will write something like printf %d is a prime number with a comma and number, and else print %d is not a prime number, comma and number. So let's run this program for some examples to see whether this program is actually working or not. So let's enter something like 5. So 5 is a prime number. Let's enter something like 7. 7 is prime number. Let's enter a negative value like -1. -1 is a negative number. Enter another number. So let's enter something like 9. 9 is not a prime number. Let's enter another number like 8. 8 is not a prime number. This program is running completely fine. You have written the C program that is going to find the prime number. So finally, we have completed our C program to find the prime number. I hope you have liked this video. If you have any doubts or if you have any questions, ask me in the comment section, and please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified for future updates. You could follow me on Instagram where I do post all the slides included in the video, and you could follow me in the Twitter where I am going to include the PDF version of the slides. And finally, leave a like if you have liked this video, and peace, have a nice day.
Treat me right, your dark hair with those eyes so bright, they look into my soul and it sparks my life. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? Back to when we felt like this was forever. Can I take you there?